Over the last 20 years or so, portable gaming has come a long ways, and at the forefront of that has been mostly Nintendo. But what is a Sony fanboy like myself supposed to do for portable gaming? And of course, in stepped our friends the PSP and the PlayStation Vita. Now this thing has gotten kind of a bad rap over the years, but let's go over why I think that's somewhat ill-placed. There's always one very important feature when it comes to talking about a gaming system, and that's the games. If there's not any good games on it, what's the point? And obviously, the Vita is no exception to that rule. So how are the games on this thing? Well, in my personal opinion, and it's my video, so obviously that's the opinion you're getting, I think the exclusives on this thing are pretty great. While it might not come with heavy hitters like Mario, Zelda, or Pokemon, the PlayStation Vita comes with its own exclusive titles that feel very uniquely Sony. And as a fan of the PlayStation, I gotta say, I like that. If you're a fan of Japanese games, especially JRPGs, you're gonna love the Vita. Especially where it's not region locked, you can pick this up and get any games that have come out anywhere in the world, including really weird ones from Japan. So not only does this little thing have some really great AAA exclusives like Uncharted and Killzone, it also comes with some really fun indie titles like Guacamelee, Ho-Hokum, and classics like Fez and Super Meat Boy. Not to mention, the PlayStation Vita is still my favorite way to play Hotline Miami. There's just something about this whole package that screams, great for murder puzzle games. And if you're gonna sit there and try and tell me that Hotline Miami is not a puzzle game, you are incorrect, sir or madam. It is totally a game where you solve puzzles on how you're gonna murder people before they murder you. Just think about it. So if portable JRPGs and artsy-fartsy indie games aren't really your thing, maybe retro gaming is more your style. Well, the PlayStation Vita can hook you up there too, as it's got a wide library of PS1 and PSP classics. It's also a little easier to lug around than all of this. So most modern gaming controllers, like the PlayStation's DualShock 4, runs just plain old Bluetooth, which makes it increasingly easier to connect it to devices it wasn't really intended to connect to. One great example of that is the Razer phone. It runs Android and it was literally built to play games on. So I load this thing up with a few PlayStation ROMs and I'm ready to go. Unfortunately, where one of these things fits in your pocket pretty well, the other does not so much, making it not a super excellent solution for portable gaming. The PlayStation Vita, on the other hand, fits into most pants pockets, as long as you're wearing men's pants. I genuinely don't know why women's pants don't have real pockets. That seems ridiculous. Just put some f***ing pockets on those things. If you're gonna put pockets, just put pockets. It doesn't make any sense. Just put some f***ing pockets. Fortunately, there's a pretty wide library of PS1 classics and PSP titles ported over onto the Vita, which means you've got quite the library to work through. So I usually stick to more obscure, harder to find PlayStation games on my Razer phone and stick to my Vita for the classics. While not quite the same screen-to-portable options as, say, the Nintendo Switch, the Vita does offer the ability to play on a screen, as long as you're willing to swap out your memory cards. See, all you need to do is remove the unfortunately very expensive memory from your PlayStation Vita and put it into a PlayStation TV. Then you can play it on the big screen with a DualShock 4. Unfortunately, the PlayStation TV doesn't have any real internal memory, so it is running everything off of your memory card. While that does mean that your save files transfer over, it does also mean that the software has to transfer over every time too. So that means every time you swap out your memory card from your Vita to your PS TV and then back again, you have to wait for it to load, which can take 30 to 45 seconds. And that's a long time. Just think back to the first time you were binging Breath of the Wild and partway through you realized you needed to take a shit. So you pulled this out of the dock and it was immediately ready to go. Now imagine that transition took 45 seconds every single time. Yeah, 45 seconds sounds like a big deal now, right? One oft-forgotten feature of the PS Vita is the PS4 Remote Play feature, which means if someone wants to watch TV or put in a movie, you don't have to stop gaming. It also answers the whole gotta take a shit problem. So with some unfortunately glaring flaws that killed this thing off before its time, I think it's easy to say that the PlayStation Vita did not get the fair shake it deserved. I'd even go as far to say that this thing will end up in the halls of gaming history alongside things like the Sega Dreamcast, where it was just a little ahead of its time, and unfortunately the hardware suffered because of that. So while I wouldn't say going out and buying one of these brand new in 2018 is a great idea, if you have one laying around, go ahead and blow the dust off of it, because it's a great way to play some classic PS1 games on the go or on your TV. Now if only they would port Air Guys on this thing, then I could play it wherever I go. And you guys couldn't stop me. I don't care that you don't like that game. I don't care. I'm gonna keep playing it. I'm never gonna stop playing it. Suck it, nerds.
We're gonna play the game, the PlayStation all day, with the Metal Gear Solid to Tekken 3, and from Omega Boost to Resident Evil. Just play for the fun, 'cause we got it going on.